too late to question it, Fletch. Your jimmies have already been rustled.
So Justice for All takes place directly after the events of the original. Phoenix is still objecting to every little statement, Maya is still getting blamed for everything, the judge is still as clueless as ever, and Edgeworth is... Hey wait, you're not Edgeworth. Right, so this person is Franziska von Karma, the prosecutor that you'll constantly have to deal with. Von Karma is an extremely direct prodigy who is determined to win every single one of her cases as flawlessly as possible. It's revealed very early on that she's in fact the daughter of this guy, which, as you may have guessed from his face, is also pretty cruel. However, even though it is inferred that her determination stems from wanting to get Phoenix back, her motivations do go a little bit deeper. But at the same time, I would have liked her character to go a bit further, especially in comparison to the other prosecutors in the other games. She is definitely the weakest of the original trilogy, but she does have her moments admittedly. But the new characters don't stop there. Justice for All also introduces Pearl Fey, who is by far the cutest character in the history of ever. I mean, she's the root cause of a lot of problems, but, you know, the two cancel out. Kind of. But yes, she does play an integral role in the overarching storyline of the entire trilogy, and is definitely a welcome addition here. The gameplay here is relatively unchanged from the original, but the minor differences mainly derive from Maya's Magatama, an item that allows you to see through a person's lies. This new addition works almost like a toned-down version of cross-examination, where you have to present evidence or profiles that contradict what the person is saying. If you get it right, the locks break, but if you get it wrong, you get penalised. Now this works well for the most part and is a nice change of pace for the investigation phases, however it is a tad flawed, I feel. They merely act as walls to inhibit your progression, as you almost never have the correct evidence at the time when you first encounter the locks. And even if you do get it wrong, you just get told your spirit will be destroyed or something, and you can just try again. You know, not a big deal. They can be cool at times, especially when locks come up for someone you wouldn't expect, and it is a good way to hype up the mystery, but the actual execution feels like a super simplified version of the courtroom proceedings. This does improve as the series goes on, but we'll get into that later when we get into those games. The music is generally the same, but there are a few new tracks here and there. I actually really liked practically all of the new ones here. I mean, it's definitely not as iconic as the original, but that's probably just to be expected. I just wish there were a few more of these, as a lot of it is simply recycled. I have to mention the theme that plays during the testimony though. It feels almost sad, which although does seem a bit unfitting, works surprisingly well, I found. Alright, let's move on to the cases. So the game begins with the Lost Turnabout, and this is unsurprisingly the worst case. So Phoenix gets amnesia or something because of Mr. Fire Extinguisher over here, and the game then uses this as an excuse to recap everything. Now this would have helped if the case had a larger effect on everything, but it's never mentioned again in any of the future games. It works as a tutorial, but the case lacks real substance. So the next case is titled Reunion and Turnabout, and let me just say, this is easily one of my favourites. This is basically the introduction to the major overarching storyline that runs through the entire trilogy. But it also has a fantastic mystery that will completely blow your mind once you play through it. This is also where we're introduced to Franziska through what is quite possibly the best quote in the entire game. Let me try capture her brilliance. Foolish fool who foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. I mean, wow. She can really burn Phoenix when she wants to. Oh, you simple-minded fools. I'm sorry, are you still by chance evolving? But yes, this case is great and is an absolute joy, as well as being creepy as hell. I mean, you know, 9-year-old me just sitting around, being a happy chap, minding my own business, then suddenly BAM! Scarred for life. But I didn't care. It was worth it. Next up is Turnabout Big Top, which I must admit exceeded my original expectations and was not as bad or cheesy as I originally thought it sounded. What is made to seem like another murder is actually connected to past events, something that isn't really new to the franchise, but can make any case a million times better, I feel. The witnesses here are also pretty entertaining, and the mystery is definitely there. Though the case doesn't really connect with the story all too much, so it does feel fairly inconsequential when you look at the entire game, but it is nonetheless a solid case. Now...
Are you okay, Fletch?
I'm fine. I'll be fine.
I guess I'd better introduce this. So the next case is Farewell My Turnabout, and...
Holy schnitzels, this case is a freaking masterpiece. Seriously, no spoilers here, but hot damn! This is probably my favourite case thus far. I honestly can't say why due to spoilers, but just believe me, the changes here shake up the conventions of the entire series. The stakes could never be higher, and the climax of this case will send tingles up your spine. The final cases in Ace Attorney games have always been impressive, and this is no doubt a masterpiece. Everything is crafted so well, and you really get strung along throughout it all. I just can't say, as I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I really do, but I can't. Just try to trust me on this one. Once again, just like the first game, the big reason to really like this game is the fact that it's well written. You know, you're going to be reading a lot of text in this game, and it really needs this, and it nails it almost perfectly. The humor's there, the touchy-feely moments are sprinkled in through, and you really get a feeling of all the characters. So this is easily a +3 from me. Now, as for the cases, Case 2 is just a joy to play through, and once again, like I said, it's one of my favourites. No spoilers, of course, but just know that it really is a good start to the massive sort of plot that overruns the entire game. You know, it was kind of mentioned in the first game, but it was never really a centralized point of it, and this really just nails it there. So I'm going to plus 2 points for this one. Now, even better than Case 2 is easily Case 5. I can't say anything. So I'm not. I'm just going to let this number do the talking, because I'm going to plus a massive 3 for this one. Just like with every Ace Attorney game, the characters here are really memorable and have a distinct persona that you can just remember whenever you see their character portrait. It's just testament to, once again, how well written it is. The animation, it really characterizes everyone really well, but I wouldn't say it isn't in as much of an abundance as the first game and some of the other entries, as there's only 4 cases here, so there's not a wide range of people really. But what's here is good, so I'm going to plus 1 point for this. The soundtrack is also praiseworthy, but the fact that a lot of the music tracks are recycled is kind of a drawback for that, but the new tracks here are all really good and almost as memorable as the first one. But since there are old ones, I'm only going to plus 1 point for this. So yeah, as you may have guessed, there's only 4 cases in this game, and you know, if you're not familiar with Ace Attorney, they usually have 5, and especially considering one of these cases is a tutorial, you're only getting really 3 solid cases that can really hold their own compared to the usual 4. And it's kind of disappointing. I see why, because they are GBA ports and the original just had an original case and Trials was special. And anyway, there's only 4 cases, so it's still a problem, so I'm going to minus 2 points for this. Now, the whole Magatama feature is kind of a welcome addition, but its core mechanics are a bit flawed in terms of gameplay. You know, it can be cool at times, but generally speaking, they are kind of a missed opportunity, I feel, to really mix up the gameplay. So I'm going to minus 1 point for this one. Alright, let's see how Justice for All stacks up. Ace Attorney Justice for All is a really good addition to the franchise, and even though it does have its drawbacks in terms of lacking in content, recycled music, and some gameplay aspects, the cases here are really quite good. There just isn't enough of them, and I can't emphasize it enough. Case 4, I really want to say what happens, but I know how spoilers feel. Yeah, Attack on Titan spoiled for me. Even got Xenoblade Chronicles spoiled. Of all things, a Smash Bros. Trophy. Committed the act. Be careful when you browse those trophies. It was a sad day. Anyway, now that I've finished the review, I think I deserve a little nap.
But there's still daylight.
Oh yeah. Well... Right. How about that, Cooper?
That was terrible editing.
Yeah, well, so is your face. Anyway, good night, Cooper. It's just a dream. Or was it?